Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Back on Track Achieving Healthy Weight Loss podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alicia Shelley, and today we're talking about something sweet that can actually turn a little sour for your health. That's right. We're talking about fructose, which is a type of sugar. You've probably heard of fructose. It's found naturally in fruit, but it can also be in things like sodas, candy, fruit juices, and processed foods. And while small amounts of fructose are fine, too much fructose can increase your risk for obesity, fatty liver disease, heart disease, and even kidney problems. So today, we are breaking it all down in simple terms based on a fascinating paper by Dr. Richard Johnson and colleagues, which was published in July of 2023. But before we dive in, let me ask you this question. How often do you drink sugary beverages or fruit juice? Could be, just once a day with breakfast, have like an orange juice or apple juice. Or is it something that you're drinking multiple times throughout the day, maybe even for lunch or for dinner, and maybe even as a snack, as a pick-me-up? So just keep that in mind and tune in because this episode is definitely for you. So let's first start out with the basics. What is fructose and why should we care? Well, fructose is a type of sugar. It's what makes fruit taste sweet. But here's the key difference. When we eat fructose from whole fruits, it becomes fiber, water, and nutrients. That can help slow down how fast our body absorbs it. But when we drink it in sodas or eat it in processed foods, it's like giving your body a huge sugar rush. Your liver has to work extra hard to process that fructose. And over time, that can cause fat buildup in the liver, leading to a condition that we call MASL, metabolic dysfunction associated liver disease. It's kind of like your liver becoming a fat factory because it's just building more fat, and storing more fat in the body. So, quick question for you. Do you ever crave something sweet after a stressful day? I know I've done it. And you're not alone either. But there's actually a reason why that happens. And so we're going to talk about that later on. So when your liver turns fructose into fat, some of that fat stays in the liver. But some of that gets sent out into the bloodstream to be used as energy. So it gets picked up by the muscles, the organs as energy. However, sometimes that fat that's in the bloodstream, it can raise your triglyceride levels. And triglycerides are a type of fat that's just transporting fat in the blood. And that means the more fat that gets stored in places you don't want it, like around your belly, that can lead to higher triglycerides that you see if you take your cholesterol test. Even more interesting, fructose does not trigger the same I'm full signals in your brain that glucose does. And glucose is basically another sugar that's broken down in fruit. And glucose can also be broken down into fructose. Who knew? But anyway, I digress. So after drinking a sugary soda, you might still feel hungry and end up eating more. Over time, this can lead to weight gain, insulin resistance, and metabolic syndrome. But here's a fun question for you to think about. When you drink a 20-ounce soda, do you know how many teaspoons of sugar that's in it? It's about 16 teaspoons. 16! A huge amount of sugar. Imagine scooping 16 teaspoons into your coffee. Trust, you would never drink it. But that's what's hiding in these sugary drinks. But let's kind of connect the dots to how fructose affects your heart and blood pressure. When fructose leads to fat buildup, it leads, like I said before, to higher triglycerides in the blood. But it can also cause inflammation and stiffness in your blood vessels. And that stiffness can raise your blood pressure, or high blood pressure, and put you at risk for more heart attacks and strokes. I kind of like to describe your blood vessels like the water pipe or the water hose that you're, maybe watering your grass with. If you put your finger or your thumb over the top of it, you'll feel more pressure as the water's going through. That's the same way the heart works. The more that the stiffness and the inflammation of the blood vessels cause it to get smaller, which causes higher pressure in that blood vessel, which leads to high blood pressure. Also, the plaque buildup can lead to more heart attacks and strokes. The other thing about fructose is that it can also increase your uric acid level, which is a waste product in the body. But too much uric acid level can not only cause gout, but it can also lead to damage of the blood vessels and kidneys over time. So that morning soda or that daily dessert isn't just about the calorie. It's about how your body reacts to the sugar that it's getting from these foods. So how many sugary drinks do you think you've had this week? I would say maybe make sure to track it for the next few days, and you may be surprised. You may be overdoing it a little bit much with those sugary drinks. I know it's the fall, so in the US, we have pumpkin spice latte. That adds up too. That's like 14 teaspoons as well. So make sure to try to cut back on some of those sugary drinks. Now let's talk a little bit more about fructose and your kidneys. So I like to describe the kidneys as your body's filter. They filter out all the different toxins, all the different used products. It's filtering out of the body because it's no longer needed. However, when your kidneys are exposed to high levels of uric acid and inflammation from too much sugar, they have to work harder to expel all of these byproducts. And over time, it can lead to stress that can lead to chronic kidney disease. And what's wild is that it's the same process that links obesity, heart disease, and kidney problems together. And fructose is often the common thread. So by reducing that fructose, you're protecting more than just your waistline. You're actually protecting your entire body. So what's one drink or snack that you could swap this week to cut back on the added sugar? And sometimes you can substitute some water instead of soda or fresh fruit instead of candy. Sometimes it's just taking that one best step. So how can we cut back on fructose without feeling deprived? Here are a few simple ways to take action. Number one, read the labels that are on the back of the food. Look out for ingredients that say high fructose corn syrup, because that's a lot of fructose. Also, fruit juice concentrate that has tons of fructose in it, or even a syrup can have fructose in it as well. Try drinking more water. And if you don't particularly like the taste of water, because many people don't, try sparkling water with lemon or lime, especially if you like the bubbles, that carbonation. That can help to be a good substitute from the soda. Also, try eating whole fruit instead of drinking fruit juice. You'll get the sweetness from the fiber and fewer sugar spikes. Especially in comparison if you were to actually drink fructose. Also, watch your portion sizes when it comes to desserts or sweetened snacks. Remember, it's not about cutting out all sugar, because there's some sugar that your body needs, but it's about being mindful and making choices that keep your energy and health steady. So to sum it up, excess fructose can lead to weight gain, fatty liver, high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, and kidney problems. But the good news is you have control. By being aware and making small swaps, you can help your body heal and stay on track towards a healthier you. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with a friend, subscribe, and leave a review. And let me know, what is that one sugary drink or food you're cutting back on this week? Tag me at Dr. Shelley MD on your social media. And until next time, stay strong, stay committed, and stay consistent. And we'll see you next time.